Hello everybody and welcome back to Elderberry Sprout. Today I want to dive into a May bullet journal setup, and this one I'm actually going to be showing you guys the whole process. So the one piece of inspiration I'm starting with is this one piece of scrapbook paper. It does have a pattern on the back that matches, so I'm going to try to use both of these patterns, but we'll see how it turns out. So here is my April, and here will be my May. I measure all of my pages out when I set up my book in the beginning of the year, so I know that I have the right amount of pages for May. Let's burn some incense to set the mood for my planning session. I like to try to do my monthly setups when it's either the new moon or I'm on my moon cycle, just because I feel like those are both really reflective times that allow for you to kind of tap into your intuition some more and really get to, I don't know, get in connection with the energy that you want to bring in. So that's what I've been doing. And right now, it's a little bit past the new moon, but I'm in that other cycle. So now it's a good time for me to dive into this. So most of the time I start with kind of a background paper, and then I cover it up with other scraps. So I guess we can just try to have this be the background paper. Maybe I should have the front be the background. Yeah, I actually think this is a little bit less overwhelming than this floral is. So I think what I'll do is I'll use this as the dominant pattern and then have this be more of an accent pattern, so it's not going to overtake the entire spread. So let's start off with that. And this is something I've been forgetting to do with the first page. You see how I cut all of my tabs and I cut this first page? I need to remember to do that now. And most of the time, I don't know if you guys are interested in these weird details, but most of the time I end up cutting about 3 rows off of a normal, like, I guess bullet journal style journal. So I'm just gonna cut those first 3 lines off. And that gives me a framework of how much I actually need to cover, because it doesn't end up being the full width. It ends up being, you know, a little bit shorter. So let's start gluing this side. So there isn't too much reasoning going into picking this pink other than that it's pink and springy, and I think it's got some nice May Day type vibes. When I was younger, I used to do May Day baskets and hang them on our neighbors' doors and ring the doorbell, and some of them really liked the flowers. Some of them were crotchety old ladies down the street who thought we were up to no good. Funny how that stuff works out sometimes. All you can do is to keep spreading the love. So let's line that up properly. If I can get really tight in there. I've got a bone folder. Let's get, yeah. Yeah, if you don't have a bone folder, it's definitely worth investing in one, because these will get you some really even tension on pages. Nice. Nice, nice, nice. Let's trim that off. I have that new Fortnite song stuck in my head right now. It's so catchy and like got some really great 70s vibes to it. It keeps showing up on my TikTok. Let's see. Why don't I go? Because I want to have my calendar here. So maybe I'll bring... Maybe I'll like rip this diagonally and then have some of the floral on the bottom. There we go. And I ripped it that way so that I would have this white edge, and then I can put some of the floral underneath here as if it's peeking out. I guess I could do the floral on top too if I wanted to. But I kind of like how clean it looks when it's underneath. Let's see if I can peel this bit up a little bit. Yeah. Ooh, that's cute. I like that. Okay. And most of the time I do try to use my resources pretty efficiently. So honestly, what I want to do is I want to have one piece that's just this part here. And then I want to use the scraps to like patch in this little corner. Because it'd be great if I could just extend this whole thing down. That way I'd still have a really big chunk here. So let's see how we can piece all these parts together. Yeah, that'll be nice. Okay, let's try gluing that about here. So there's our two scraps that we can use to do this little collage-y bit in the corner. Let's peel you up and see what we can do underneath there. Push that down. Bam. We have a little bit of surgery successful. I didn't glue that part well enough. Oop. There we go. So there's the scraps from this so far. And now the question is, do I want to have this floral be the color that's going to be peeking out on the side? And then what do I want to have on this last page before June? I'm gonna have to decorate this column here. Let's go ahead and trim all of these pages first. So my system for this most of the time is just doing some pages in the beginning to figure out how wide I want it, and then eventually it gets too thick for me to cut, so I just take one of the pages and use that as the guide for the next set of pages. And most of the time I can get this done in a couple of cuts. There we go. Okay, now you can really see more of what's going to matter having this on the side. We could do the floral, we could do this pattern underneath. I wonder. Let's start doing some corner rounding. Got my corner rounder here. Yep, I definitely want that there. And I want this floral to be... or do I want this? Oh, I'm so indecisive. I think I actually want both. It doesn't have to match perfectly. Let's go ahead and try both. Let's see exactly how far over this needs to be. That's about good. And now, because I've used 2 layers of scrapbook paper, it's getting a little bit chunky. But I'm okay with that because I only have May and June to keep living in this booklet, so. A little chunk never hurt anybody. But yeah, I definitely like having this on the side, because then what I end up doing is I add my habits on the side. So this will cover up a little bit of it, but that way it'll be more fun to have flowers on the side like that, and a little pink on this side. Ooh, or do I want flowers on the side? No, I think I want both. Yes, I want both. Okay, let's do the pink on this side. Oh, there we go. I'll just rip that there. Oh, and a glue stick. Sometimes I like to gouge this out, but I don't want to do that right now. Save my messy fingers for later when I'm not on camera, because I just like dig my fingers in and like rub it all over the page. I also like that this is a gingham pattern, because that's what I do my habit trackers out of. So hopefully I'll be able to find a fountain pen that matches this gingham pattern really well. And that will be pretty well suited to most of my weekly pages. There we go. There we go. So yes, there's an example of what a weekly page will look like. A little taste of both flavors there. Cool, cool, cool. Okay, base layer is pretty much done. Let's go ahead and trim this out. There we go. Ooh, did I get to line up? Not perfectly, but I'm okay with that. Okay. So we've got our scraps. Most of the scraps that I end up left with, I'll probably just collage on this back page. So now is the point where I try to figure out what my calendar is going to be, and if there's any type of title that I want to do that is of a matching color or matching mood. So let's see. I do feel like this is a little bit bright. Of course, it's springtime, it should be bright. But I think, once again, I'm gonna just dull this down with some brown. So let me get some brown paper to do the calendar. So these are the 2 options I found. I do have some lighter browns, but I don't know. I would like to have a dark. Let's see what have I been using. Yeah, I've been using this darker brown, which I've really liked. Yep, some tea stain papers. But I also like the idea of having this, which is just some, there you go, it's got some lines on it that are blue. That'd be kind of fun. Do like an elementary school theme. I'm going to try to find a lighter brown. Okay, so I found a couple more options here. You've got this purpley page, because I think this does match with one of the flowers there, so that'd be kind of cool to pull one of the colors from over here as well, and it would still darken it up a little bit. This page, I just wanted to show you, this was that purpley greeny page. So I can hear my dog barking in the background. This is a purpley greeny page that I had dyed, and I used last time. So you can see we had some green, we had a little bit of purple around the outside. And I really wish I remembered how I got this effect, because I love it so much. But you really, I don't know. I don't remember. I think it was light green paper that I dyed with purple dye, and I just had all the papers stacked like this, so that's why it's kind of diagonal. On this bottom corner, there's a line. and one there too. But anyway, I love how this page turned out. There's also this light green, which has kind of a springy energy to it. Yeah, one side has a little more texture than the other. So I'm just gonna have to play around and deliberate a little bit. I also have, these are my just generic tea stained papers, and I've got all sorts of, you know, bright ones, darker ones. These I've all straightened with actually a hair straightener. I found that that's a lot easier than using an iron for me, because you don't require a surface and you can just do it one page by one page. So, or I could use one of those. Either way, you see this kind of draws from the yellows in here. And then this, yeah, purple. The purple would be really fun, but I just did purple, so I should probably do different colors. Let's see what I deliberate on. So this is my calendar ruler. I know I've explained about it before, but this is the vertical size I prefer. And then this is the horizontal size. So I'll have to see how many weeks are actually in May. And this is when I can consult my computer. We've got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Bam! And the 31st is on a Friday. Cool. So that means I can just cut here, here to here, and then there to there. And I did decide on this cream color because I wanted something that was a little less vibrant with color. I also wanted something that was bouncing off of the warm tones, because I feel like this book has tended towards a lot of cooler tones. So there's like the purple month, kind of a warmy brown and golden greeny month. Then I had a blue month over here, and only February had like this warm pinkish tone. So I want to kind of lean more into the warmth now that the sun is responding, or the sun is returning rather. So let's figure out exactly what days are on here. So let's see, we've got, and most of the time I outline these in some type of marker that matches the setup. So I'll have to see which marker I want to use for this. It's interesting. I've never really explained my process before, so it's interesting to see all the subconscious things that I do just inherently or naturally. I actually have to think about the processes I'm doing. So that's kind of fun, seeing I'm like, oh, there's actually a lot of weird things I do that I don't really talk about. Let's get my ruler. Okay, let's do, I think it'd be really fun to pull this orange out. So let's see what a good orange would be. Got a little test strip. Is that too bright? No, that's perfect. Especially once that's going to be on the brown. That would be good. Okay, and we're starting May on a Wednesday. So let's cut that out first. And then we have to cut out Saturday. Sunday, Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday. Starts on a Wednesday. There we go. So there's our little month. Let's add some lines. And actually, I might end up inking this because I do like it having more defined, I don't know, more defined spacing. Like sometimes that's why I add drop shadows to these things, because it creates more dimension between this layer and the layer below it. So there's our little calendar. Maybe. I don't have a red ink pad, but I have a pink ink pad. So let's try that. The real question is, do I want to round these corners? I kind of like the ripped energy going on up there. Oh, I also found this scrap over here. This is of a green scrapbook paper that was from the same set as this, and I can use that if I want to somewhere too. But let's see. Let's put it on here and see what we think. I think I want it on this page this time, because I don't want to cover up all of the pretty flowers. And maybe somewhere there. Yeah, I think I want to round the corners. I've been really liking rounding the corners of these things recently. It just feels less, I don't know, angular, just more round and soft. And not that being pointed is bad, but I don't know. This is my own space. I want it to be soft and yielding and, I don't know, comfortable to be in. Wow, I'm surprised with how consistent those corners were. That doesn't always happen. There we go. I think that was a good decision. So do you see the before and after? This looks really bland right there, but then this top corner like stands out a little bit more with that pink on the edge. So let's ink this whole thing. Ink, ink, the whole thing. And if you were wondering, yes, my inking, I guess inker, dauber, whatever you call it, is a wooden spool that I glued a piece of paper to the top of, put the ink color on there, and then this is just a piece of like packing foam, honestly. If this ever goes bad, I can just scrape it off with a knife and put a new piece of foam on there. I just feel relieved to have come up with a perfect solution for using this size of wooden spools, because I always use thrifted thread when I do my sewing, and I don't know, it's nice to have something to do with the old spools. I know a lot of people love Gutermann's thread, but I don't know, I prefer just using weird leftover thread I get at the thrift store. I try to find cotton thread, but sometimes it's polyester too, so. But if it's on a wooden spool, it tends to be mercurized cotton or mercurized? I think it's mercurized cotton. Yeah, mercury, like Mad Hatters would have. Mercury poisoning, oh, how fun. We coat our thread in that. Or used to, anyway. Anyway, I'm going on a tangent here. Okay. I think it would be fun to do some headers, or like a banner at the top. That is one of these colors. So maybe a light orange, and then I can do an orange number for each of the days. Ooh, should I glue it down first? Yeah, let's glue that down first. Make sure we have this oriented the same way. Okay, Friday is the last day of the month. We're scooching this over so there's enough room for our little whatchamahoosit. Yes. Oh, this little piece keeps popping up. He just does not want to stay put. I might glue him with some more intense glue because he's starting to annoy me. Okay. Bam. There he is. Let's find a nice light orange color that I can try on here. Ooh, that could be nice. That yellow's kind of fun. What about you? Are you good? Ooh, I think I like that one. Let's do that one. Ooh, even going with that rounded pattern. Ooh, I like that. Reminds me of like Star Trek. I don't know, something about their computer systems. It had like that rounded 1970s swoop pattern to it. Here we go. See how much more dimension even just that added. Oh, I love it. The pink around the edge. We had a darker orange line. A lighter orange for the highlighted portions. Now we need to choose our number system. Am I going to write numbers or stamp numbers? I've been loving on my number stamps, so let's just go ahead and use those. But then I'll have to come up with a stamp color to use. Ooh. Oh, it's a little bit bluer. I don't think I like that, actually. It's a little bit bluer of a purple. Yeah, that's almost like an indigo, actually. Okay, won't use him. Let's try this one. And I did find this orange here. We'll see if it's dried up or not. Ooh. Ooh. I'm loving it. Perfect. Let's do that for the rest of them. 1, 20, 131. Let's see, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18, 19, 20, 21, 22, 23, 24, 25. That's going to be 30, 31. Okay, I guess that's all the ones. Let's figure out another color or another number. Start doing threes. 3, baby. 3. Ooh, what a happy surprise. I've never tried this multicolored stamp pad because I look at it and it looks like Crayola threw up, right? So it's like super primary, and most of the time that's not really my speed, but this orange, especially on this like darker paper, it's looking a lot more, I don't know, it's looking a lot more muted, which I am into in a major way. So that's feeling pretty fun. 2, 3, 3, 13, 23, 30s. Okay. Yeah, I like this one. I think I'll be using, I'll be using a lot of this one. See, how's the 4 looking? Way too like a shamrocky green. Let's do the 4. Yeah, see, now I'm feeling like it's too much orange. Let's put him away. Let's do the ghosting with the purple again. Or I could do my light pink. Let's try this light pink over here. Oh, that's about the same as the other pink. Well, I'm okay with that. Okay, why don't I speed up past all these here? Okay, there's the rest of those numbers all finished up. So this is kind of what happens sometimes for me, is I'll get this far and I say, okay, I want to do something monotonous now, because I've spent so much time thinking about what colors go where and how I'm going to design it, that I start doing my actual weekly page layouts. So I'm going to go ahead and jump into those. And I'm going to try not to feel guilty about jumping around, because this is just how my process works sometimes. And then, you know, after playing with different colors over here, I'll figure out how I want to do, like, the title, if I want May up here, or, yeah, what I want to do on this page. I think I'm going to have some type of character or focal point, maybe up here somewhere. So I'll have to figure out how I want to do that. But anyway, let's start working on these, because we've got all these beautiful oranges to work with. So I'm excited to do that. Okay, so let's go ahead. Oh, first let's do our habits. So my habit page looks like this. And I think, do I want to do orange? Did I want to do orange? Which one was this? That was the darker orange. I kind of want to do the lighter orange, so not him. Is he the lighter orange? This was the darker orange. That was that one. So this one is the one. Unless I want to do yellow. Oh, yellow would be so fun, though. Yeah, maybe I will do yellow actually. But first I'm going to do a layer of cream on top of this so that it'll blend in here a little bit better. So just finished the habits, and you can see I used a little bit of a cream color pen to be the in-between color so it matches the background of the floral. I did the same orange, which shows up a little bit lighter here than it does on this tea-stained paper. And now these are the colors we're working with. So I'm going to use, once again, the orange pen to do my normal little gingham. And maybe sometimes I can do this pink color to match both sides here. So we'll have to see. So let's get started on ginghaming. I'm going to time lapse this part because this is pretty, I don't know, it takes a while. So here I'm just finishing up my weekly pages, and I decided to start doing the title of the May page, which turns out I didn't like how this turned out. I keep trying to tweak it, like I stamped the letters, which these were letter stamps that I had used last month as well. And I like the stamps, but I just don't think they suited this paper with all the texture in the background. It kind of got lost on the gingham. So even after coloring in the letters, I tried to salvage it. I decided I was going to glue something on top of it. So I'm going through my little basket of goodies to find some type of thing that I can cover it up with that matches the theme. And one of these does end up covering it up, but I also decide to make my tabs first. So with making these tabs, I tried to match the colors that were inside of the flowers to try to unify the pattern everywhere. And I'm using all sorts of weird little pieces of paper. And after I do my weekly pages, that's when I do the tabs, because then I know how many, I guess, end of the month pages I have left over. In this month, I end up having 5, so I'm getting 5 little tabs here. And as you can see, I'm really just using literal scraps, whatever I have that happens to match. It is nice having creative people who also have sent you things in the past that you can salvage from, so I will say a good deal of this is from other creative folks. Yeah, like these little orange strips of paper, they were offcuts from something, and I'm just gluing them onto another piece of paper so that I can use them as a, I don't know, a unified one-colored chunked tab. So I'm just turning it into new paper so that I can see the color I want to see. And there you go. Got enough orange peeking out for it to match. And of course, if you have more stuff available, you don't have to use your scraps, but I do think because these are tiny little pieces, this is the super perfect time to use a whole bunch of scraps. And once again, here comes that gold tissue paper that I love so much. I'm gluing it onto a solid piece of like scrapbook paper, so it's a little bit sturdier. And yeah, it works out pretty well. I knew I wanted the orange one on the top, so that was the first position I knew I wanted. But then the rest of these I was kind of futzing around with, trying to figure out which one should go where. Doing a little corner rounding. Of course you can use a punch for this if you want, but sometimes it's just easier to throw some scissors on a thing instead of finding the right tool. And because I was using 5 tabs, I did end up staggering them slightly so that I would have a border going all the way around all of the tabs. And now I'm just gluing them all on. Okay, and for this bottom tab, I wanted a little bit more color, so I decided to pull a piece of paper that was from a gel print. And I decided to use that because it was a little bit brighter, and I feel like that bottom corner just needed a little bit more pop, so I used this bright part of it. It has kind of a darker magenta-y and orangey vibe to it, which is exactly what I needed. And it turned out perfectly down there. Now that all my tabs are done, I'm going to cover over this May. So you can see I tried to color it in an even darker color and still did not enjoy what it looked like. So I'm using these new stamps that I got. I had forgotten that I got them, but now I get a chance to use them. I just stamped on a different piece of paper and glued it on. Really so simple. That's all it needs to be when you want to fix something. Find a piece of paper that you think matches and redo it. I also like that I was able to use the magenta color, which is a little bit warmer than the purple I had before, so I think it really suits it a lot better. There we go! Yay! Yay! And here I'm flipping through an encyclopedia, which is a great way to come up with ideas. To find a feature image to be on that opposing page. And here you can see I found my feature image. Ta-da! We've got a heart there, anatomically correct. So I've decided on that image. I love flipping through encyclopedias because they have so many great images to work with, and nobody uses encyclopedias anymore, especially when they're out of date and they're all about old white men. So I really like tearing them up, honestly. May is a very romantic and springy, I don't know, time of year. I feel like we all come out of our cocoons and go back out in the world, so... Hopefully we're loving ourselves as well as loving others. So there's my little heart. And I did want to ink up all of this with just that brown that I use on everything because it was starting to get lost a little bit with all of the lighter tones. So I wanted to define the edges so there's a little bit more contrast there. So I just did the main pages on the edge and I did all of the tabs with the brown. And that way they stand up off of the color on the background. And I don't know, it makes them just look a little bit more finished. There's not as many raw edges on the outside. And there you go, it's all inked. Hello, it's a new morning, and I just want to show you the final setup. So I don't remember what I did off camera, but I think there were a couple things, like adding this heart here. This is from an old encyclopedia. And I just felt like I need some type of main feature on this page. I also left some emptier space so I can do my normal video planning, because I have little sections that I talk about which videos I want to do. So here you could see that I didn't like the original May that I had here. It was the same letter stamps that I had used last month, but I got a new set that I forgot I even got. So once I realized I didn't like the purple I had used that I colored the original letters in with, I found this kind of cool like speckled paper that I'd gotten in a craft swap with somebody, and I added it up here with some nice dark burgundy-ish color stamp there. I also had this realization that the word May has this dual meaning with May, of course, the month, but also may a thing happen. So it has this kind of open energy to it. So I put a little exclamation mark. It's like, may, may all these beautiful things happen. May the world come back to life. May all these, all these positive things open up into the world. So I thought it was kind of funny. And I oftentimes find that where if I make a mistake and then I think about really what I want to do, it ends up becoming better afterwards. So not only does it look prettier, but I get added layers of meaning to what I'm doing. And it's kind of a part of the process, is finding extra layers of truth when you confront things that are untruthful, like the original letters. I didn't like them. I was like, oh, these will work, right? I didn't think they were going to work. They didn't work. And now these do work. So anyway, with a similar colored pen, I wrote my little titles for the days of the week there. And a lot of what I focus on when I do spreads like this is I try to tie the colors together. So the burgundy, I tried to tie in a little bit down here. This is a tab that I ended up changing the color on. It's a jelly print, but a little bit of the darker reds, some oranges. I try to spread them out as much as I can. And that's part of why I pulled so many oranges to this side, because without these, it would just be really orange over here. So I need to bring some more orange to the corners over here. So that's what I did. For my weekly pages, I did something a little bit more boring where I actually decided to do similar colors for the stamps on the background, like my little title stamps, and then the actual words are all the same color. And then instead of using my number stamps, which are a little bit big, and it's kind of annoying to have to do two sets of numbers because I do the calendar with stamps, and then having to do the weekly pages can be kind of annoying having to do two different sets of numbers. So instead, I just used an orange pen, which once again is tying the oranges from the side of the pages into the center of the pages. And same with the pink, it's tying the pink from the sides of the pages into the center of the pages. And I also like the high contrast of this dark burgundy stamp pad being there. Something about these colons just really, I don't know, makes things look more official to me, so I love using those. And I have my moon phases, which I always tend to do in brown. I mean, it doesn't have to be in brown. I could choose a different color, but I'm just used to using brown for those. So these are all relatively the same here. I think I used a darker reddish pen for the numbers there. Here I tried doing purple. It's always good to experiment. Didn't love that one quite as much, but that's okay. Did a darker orange. This was a Crayola, is it Crayola? Yeah, it was one of these markers. I'd always wanted to try these to see if they would work with the width of the tip, but for me it was a little bit too fat to get the detail I wanted, so I got to test it out and realized it would work for other applications other than doing my little gingham over here. But it is a nice juicy dark orange color, which is nice. So pretty much the same, pretty much the same. This is the only page I did light yellow in the background instead of little pink boxes. And then my tabs. I haven't decorated these pages yet with what I want them to be because I haven't really figured that part out yet. But I chose really nice tabs for that. And I just did a standard tab where it's like slightly rounded at the corners. This one I actually made out of a couple of scraps of fabric, or not fabric, sorry, a couple of scraps of paper, and I layered them onto another piece of paper so I could get the orange color for the whole thing that I wanted. But they were just really skinny scraps originally. But it's super sturdy now, there's like multiple layers. This one was from an old photograph album. And so you can see there's like a little bit of a texture to it. So that was a great way to use that layer of leather on the outside of a photo album that I took apart for the black paper on the inside. This pattern here was from a Daphne's Diary scrap that it was a background of a page and I just liked this pink pattern, so I saved that. This is more of that gold tissue paper that I collaged on top of a normal piece of like cardstock. And then this was a gel print on an old piece of paper or old book sheet. And I did end up inking these with brown, so they stood up a little bit more against the color in the background here. And I spaced them such that it was a very even all the way around the outside, just because that makes me feel really satisfied. So yeah, it was a pretty simple setup. I didn't add as much detail. Oh, let me show you the back last page there. So here were a lot of my collaged like offcuts from making this page. So a lot of the scraps lived over here. I also had this little envelope that was a gel print, and I just wanted to use it up. It's been in my scrap bin for a while, and I always feel like I have little scraps of paper, so I actually turned it into a tinier envelope so I can stick some stuff in there. Use some washi tape just to tape that in the back. And I can also write little notes in here, and this will kind of like hide those if I want to. And if I find more scraps that fit, I'll just put them in there. But either way, I have kind of a prettier page on the back with some pattern on it too. Anyway, there's my maze setup. I hope you guys enjoyed seeing this whole process with me. I know I kind of got quieter towards the end because I was just getting in the zone. But I don't know, sometimes it's hard to think about all of the different processes I do and how I think about things. So it's interesting to think that there's so much to think about when doing something like this. Anyway, I hope this gave you some ideas about how to use different scraps you have, how to mix colors together to get to a certain energy that you're looking for. Like this, it has a very like open, excited, bright, springy energy, which is definitely what I'm wanting to get into in May. It's the beginning of my farmer's market season, so I have these all highlighted. These are when I'm going to one of my markets. So yeah, it's just the spring is here, and I'm just really excited to celebrate all of that new color that will be breathed into the world. So thank you so much for watching, you guys. I know this was a longer one than usual, so I appreciate you sticking around, and I hope you guys have a magical day. Bye.